What if you got injured in the Arctic, 500 miles from the nearest doctor? No ambulance, no clinic, just ice, wind, and the unrelenting cold pressing down on every breath you take. In this frozen world, where temperatures drop far below zero and blizzards can trap entire communities for days, even a simple injury can become life-threatening. But for the Inuit, who have thrived in these extremes for generations, healing isn't just about medicine. It's about resourcefulness, community, and ancestral knowledge passed down over centuries. Here, survival means learning how to treat wounds, ease pain, and fight illness using only what the land and animals provide. This is healing without hospitals, where tradition meets ingenuity in the coldest corners of the earth. In a land where nothing grows tall and most plants are buried under snow, you wouldn't expect to find medicine, but the Inuit know where to look and how to use it. Unlike herbal traditions in warmer regions, Inuit medicine relies on rare, carefully chosen plants found during the brief Arctic summer. Every moss, bark, or root used has a purpose, and it's never wasted. Willow bark, for example, acts as a natural pain reliever. It contains compounds similar to aspirin and was chewed or brewed into a mild tea to help reduce pain and inflammation. Certain mosses, soft and absorbent, were used as poultices to clean wounds. Their fibrous texture helped stop bleeding, while some even carried mild antibacterial properties. And then there's animal fat, a cornerstone of Arctic medicine. Seal oil and whale blubber weren't just food. They were applied to skin to treat frostbite, prevent cracking, and create a barrier against infection in cold-damaged tissue. Inuit healing was never about having a wide range of herbs. It was about knowing exactly what worked, when to gather it, and how to use it with surgical precision. Because in the Arctic, there's no room for trial and error. Every remedy is a solution born of survival. In most places, treating a wound is about cleanliness and speed. In the Arctic, it's about staying alive while your blood freezes in real time. Open wounds in sub-zero temperatures don't just risk infection, they risk instant tissue damage from the cold. The Inuit had to act fast, and they developed techniques that were as practical as they were life-saving. First, the wound was cleaned using snow or ice, not ideal but effective in flushing out debris when clean water wasn't available. In many cases, the cold itself helped numb the pain and slow bleeding, working as a kind of natural anesthetic. To protect the skin from freezing and infection, they turned to a powerful natural shield, seal oil or whale blubber. Rich in fat and resistant to freezing, these oils were gently applied to create a barrier, locking in heat and repelling bacteria in the process. For deeper cuts or gashes, Inuit healers used bone needles and sinew thread, pulled from animal tendons. This thread swelled slightly when wet, helping seal the wound and prevent gaps. The stitching was done with steady hands, often by firelight and in near silence. There were no bandages, no antibiotics, and no second chances. Just precision, tradition, and an unshakable will to keep going, no matter how cold the world outside became. In the Arctic, even a mild fever can become dangerous fast. When your body's already fighting the cold, it doesn't have much left to fight illness. So the Inuit created clever, low-tech methods to warm the body, ease pain, and help the sick recover, without ever needing a pharmacy. Seal oil lamps, normally used for light and cooking, became essential during sickness. Their steady, radiant heat was used to warm shelters and bodies, helping raise core temperature when fevers hit or chills set in. In some cases, families created makeshift steam spaces, sealing off small areas with skins, adding water to hot stones, and creating warm, humid air. It wasn't just comforting, it helped loosen the chest and break high fevers. For pain relief, Inuit healers turned to chewing roots, animal fats, and using pressure point massage. Fat was used both as nourishment and as a slow-burning energy source, helping the body stay strong through the healing process. But perhaps the most powerful medicine? The community. People rotated in and out of the shelter to check on the sick, keep fires burning, and make sure someone was always there. Healing wasn't a solitary act. It was a group effort, built on watchfulness, warmth, and constant care. Because in a place where nature shows no mercy, people do. Surviving the Arctic isn't just a battle against the cold. It's a battle against silence, darkness, and isolation. In a land where the sun disappears for weeks and storms can trap families indoors for days, mental health is just as vital as physical survival. And long before the concept of psychology existed, the Inuit understood this deeply. They had no therapists or prescriptions. Instead, they had something better: connection. Elders played a crucial role in maintaining emotional well-being. They weren't just respected, they were the emotional anchors of the community. Through storytelling, they passed down wisdom, comfort, and a sense of continuity that helped people feel grounded during even the harshest winters. Grief, fear, and stress were addressed communally, not buried in silence. Rituals, songs, and shared traditions gave people space to process hardship together instead of alone. To combat the creeping effects of isolation, Inuit families kept routines and communication strong. Joking, play, and community storytelling circles were more than entertainment. They were therapy. And when someone showed signs of depression, the response wasn't shame, it was support. Because when the darkness is this deep, it's the people around you who bring the light back. A slip on the ice, a fall during a hunt. Out here, a broken bone isn't just painful, it's potentially life-threatening. But the Inuit didn't need hospitals or x-rays to handle fractures. They had experienced hands, sharp eyes, and materials nature provided in abundance. Elders and seasoned hunters often served as the community's bone setters. With years of hands-on experience, they could feel a break, realign it, and stabilize it, all by touch and instinct. To immobilize the injury, they used splints crafted from animal bones or carved driftwood, shaped and smoothed to fit the limb. These were then wrapped with sinew, soft hide, or strips of skin, providing just enough tension to hold everything in place without cutting off circulation. Once stabilized, the focus shifted to rest and recovery. The injured person stayed warm, well-fed, and closely monitored. Diets rich in fat, iron, and protein helped speed healing, while the shelter ensured bones mended without exposure to the brutal cold. No casts, no crutches, just a deep knowledge of the body and the patience to let it heal the way nature intended. Because in the Arctic, even a broken bone had to be met with resilience, resourcefulness, and calm precision. When the nearest doctor is days away, prevention becomes the best medicine. For the Inuit, staying healthy in the Arctic wasn't about waiting to get sick. It was about building habits, routines, and protections that kept illness and injury at bay long before they started. First line of defense: food. The Inuit diet was its own form of medicine, packed with raw nutrients, omega-3 rich fats, and vitamins drawn straight from the sea and land. Whale skin delivered vitamin C, organ meats supplied iron, and raw, fresh meat kept immune systems strong and energy high, even in the dead of winter. Next came clothing, but not just for comfort, for survival. Every layer served a purpose. Mittens were often double-lined. Boots were made from breathable, insulated skin. And the right gear didn't just prevent frostbite. It prevented the kind of exposure that could lead to infection or permanent damage. Hygiene might seem impossible without soap or plumbing, but the Inuit managed with clever, cold-proof techniques. Snow scrubbing, air drying, and regular clothes rotation helped reduce bacteria buildup even in tight shelters. And when it came to staying ahead of illness or weather shifts, the best tool wasn't a thermometer, it was observation. Inuit hunters watched animal behavior closely. Sudden changes in caribou movement or seal patterns could signal disease, temperature drops, or shifts in the air pressure that affected human health too. Out here, survival wasn't reactive, it was proactive, instinctual, and built into everyday life. Because in the Arctic, the best healing is the kind you never have to use. In every Inuit community, there were those who knew how to treat pain, not just in the body, but in the spirit. Healers were often older women or seasoned hunters, people who had lived through harsh winters, long journeys, and the quiet trials that shaped wisdom over time. Their knowledge wasn't written in books. It was spoken, demonstrated, and remembered. Young ones learned by watching, by listening to stories, by slowly earning the right to ask questions. This was healing passed down through apprenticeship, where each remedy carried not just a technique, but a legacy. But what set Inuit healing apart was how spiritual it was. Illness wasn't just seen as physical misfortune. It was often viewed as a sign of imbalance, with the land, with tradition, or within the self. Healers helped restore that balance through rituals, careful listening, and an understanding that wellness came from harmony with nature's cycles. To heal was not only to mend the body, but to reconnect a person with the forces that surrounded them. The wind, the cold, the community, the ancestors. For centuries, Inuit healing practices were seen as primitive by outsiders. But today, modern science is finally catching up, and it's confirming what the Inuit have known all along. Take seal oil, for example. Once dismissed as nothing more than animal fat, researchers now recognize it for its antibacterial and anti-inflammatory properties. It's rich in omega-3s, which not only support heart health, but also play a key role in fighting infection and boosting recovery. And that high-fat, high-protein Arctic diet? Turns out it's perfectly suited for extreme environments. Scientists have found that such diets can strengthen the immune system, fuel cellular repair, and help the body retain warmth without the sugar crashes or deficiencies common in modern food systems. Even the brutal cold itself is being re-examined. Cold exposure therapy, now trending in wellness circles, is rooted in the very same principles the Inuit lived by for generations. Short, controlled exposure to freezing temperatures appears to improve circulation, build resilience, and even reduce inflammation. In other words, what was once called survival is now being studied as innovation. Because when you live on the edge of what's humanly possible, you learn things that textbooks haven't written yet. And the Inuit, they've been teaching them for centuries. In the Arctic, healing isn't found in pills or prescriptions. It's found in the steady hands of elders, in the warmth of seal oil, in the quiet strength of those who face the cold and come through stronger. Inuit medicine is not just a set of remedies. It's a living system of resourcefulness, community care, and deep respect for nature. It's a tradition built on survival, where every solution is shaped by ice, wind, and necessity. But it's also a tradition of thriving, of adapting, teaching, and remembering. No hospitals, no high-tech equipment, just generations of wisdom passed from one hand to the next, proving that true resilience isn't about what you have, it's about what you know. In the Arctic, the body is strong, but it's the wisdom of the ancestors that truly heals.